All right, Brooke Pryor covers the Steelers for us at ESPN, and she gets up with us early this morning. Brooke, so we've had a lot of sort of mixed reviews on the Steelers' decisions on our show here. They bring back Roethlisberger. He's 39 years old. We hear what the owner is saying. What kind of team do they believe they are building for this season?
Right, Greeny. Well, when we talked to Art Rooney II back in January, he said, we're trying to build a championship team this offseason, but their moves kind of suggest otherwise at this point, at least through free agency. Look, they were never going to have the cap space to be able to bring a guy back like Bud Dupree, but what about Mike Hilton? What about Tyson Alualu? Why let starting cornerback Steven Nelson walk when he was still under contract? This is a team that now has some significant holes to fill in the draft, and instead they spent the little draft capital they had, or the little cap space that they had on Juju Smith-Schuster to kind of keep the band together while letting some of the backup singers exit, the guys that let Ben Roethlisberger look so good. So now they have to draft. They have to draft to try to win. And it's one thing to draft to fill a few holes, like adding a Clyde Edwards-Helaire or an Antoine Winfield. Instead, they're going to have to try to add a quarterback and some other pieces, specifically a quarterback for the future, while still trying to win now. And like Mike Tannenbaum said earlier this week, maybe they draft a quarterback and he's the Patrick Mahomes to Ben Roethlisberger's Alex Smith, but this is the same guy that in 2018, when asked how he could help Mason Rudolph, said, well, maybe I'll just point him to the playbook. So I don't know that they're going to be able to find a way to get a new quarterback into the system for the future while still trying to win now. They're headed toward an identity crisis.
Well, I think that's a very realistic way of approaching the situation and looking at where they are. And so, Mike T., I will come to you. They're trying to do something that is very hard to do. They're trying to win now and look to the future. They can't draft a quarterback, at least not any of the ones that we're talking about at the top of this draft. They weren't nearly bad enough for that. This is a team that was 11-0 at one point. So it's one thing to say we want to get our quarterback of the future, but Mike T., if you're sitting where they're sitting, how do you actually do that?
Yeah, I really agree with what Brooke's saying. It's very difficult. They're going to have to go up and be aggressive. Again, there's teams even at 11 and 12 that we believe, like the San Franciscos of the world, may have to move up. So from where they are, they're going to have to really consider a future first-round pick, Green, to go up. And to Brooke's point, once you do that, you have a one this year and next year, you still have questions at left tackle, center, and running back, and an aging Ben Roethlisberger. So the dynamic here, to me, is a very challenging one for the Steelers.
Graz, what is your sense of the plan there in Pittsburgh?
I think they're really struggling, Greeny. My understanding is that Pittsburgh has been a little bit surprised by just how difficult their cap situation has turned out to be in terms of their ability to retain players like the ones that Brooke is listing. And look, if this team didn't have Mike Tomlin as its head coach, I would say, oh, they're in trouble. They're a last-place team. They're going to be awful. He's never had a losing season. We give him the benefit of the doubt. But there's going to be a ton of pressure on him and on Ben Roethlisberger and on anyone they draft in any kind of early round to be an early producer if this is going to be a contending team in what looks like a very difficult AFC North division.
That's another point, is that every team in the Browns are probably better than them. The Ravens and the Bengals seem to be getting better. So, Brooke, a final word here on that. In Mike, we trust. The whole world will sort of look at Tomlin and say he'll figure it out, but there's a lot here to figure out.
Right, exactly. And it's not just in Mike Tomlin we trust. Maybe the team should also trust in Mike Sullivan and Matt Canada to help develop a new young quarterback. Maybe Ben Roethlisberger isn't the guy to mentor a draft pick this year, but they did hire quarterbacks coach, and Matt Canada was instrumental in the development of Mason Rudolph this offseason. So it's not impossible, but it's going to be tough.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.